what we do now is we go to a venue that is like an open shell. So now you have to bring in everything. The costs for doing it yourself go up, but then where things get good is you make the most money in an event at the bar. So now the bar splits are in your favor. Always be bigger than the venue. Never let the venue be bigger than you. Look to keep your overheads as low as you can. I've been seeing a lot on TikTok, and I don't think it's come to South Africa yet, but in like LA and all of those places, people are now going to coffee, like establishments, putting a DJ deck there and just vibing. If people can't find venues, you will now go to unorthodox places to host.
Both of you have got quite instrumental urban culture eventing brands that are kind of running in Joburg. Maybe take us through the journey of the inception. When and why?
Our journey kind of just started out of really just necessity to start showing our community that we're actually good DJs and that's what we do. And then hopefully growing that community to then kind of like, the hope was to get booked more for DJ stuff. But then when your event property grows bigger than you, you're like, okay, maybe let's do a business.
So with Any Given Sunday, I started it with Piwe, known as That Shy Homie. Unfortunately, he couldn't be here today. That Shy Homie, yeah. So how we started it was, met Shy, and then we were only two hip-hop DJs at the venue that we were residents at. And then the owner was like, you know what, I can give you guys a Sunday. Do you want to do anything? So Piwe and I spoke and we're like, yo, we both love hip-hop. Right now, Amapiano is peaking, so let's just create a space for hip-hop. And then that's how Any Given Sunday was born. So now today we're known as the home of hip-hop. And yeah, that's how it started out. We did not know how to throw parties. We were just DJs, calling our friends, calling the homies to come and play, and just literally taking it every step of the way.
One thing I'm hearing that's kind of consistent between the three of you is that you were DJs first, and the event properties were kind of a means to promote yourselves as DJs, and the event property eventually became bigger than you, and then you became a promoter. So it's now kind of incidental. It's not necessarily that you actually went out there, you know, trying to be a promoter. What was the mental shift from you as a DJ to you now as a business person?
It's like a pretty gradual shift when you start from being a DJ and then going into this. You're very sort of focused on like curation, sort of the things that come naturally to you as a DJ. So then as time sort of progressed, things like having to register as a vendor, having to be like, when you have sponsorship deals, you can't enter them as a natural person. Like you have to be a business. You know what I mean? The CIPC, SARS, all the acronyms.
CIPC, SARS.
The whole shebang. So that was sort of like the turning point. We were like, okay, we need this thing to be a business.
If I can just add as well, I think it's mentally we're like, okay, two people can't do this thing like ourselves. So we now need to build a team. So right, we need to hire people now. We're like, cool, who we're gonna hire? We're like, cool. We obviously have our friends, people that we know. But then when you then look at the numbers, if you do about 200 people and your staff is like 3 or 2, and now if you divide it, it's like for one person you have to take care of like 50 or now you're like, cool, the team needs to grow. Now we need to hire freelancers and speak to suppliers. Like you're like, cool. Like now we're building like a database. Now it's like, okay, food vendors. So it's like, okay, this thing needs it lives with us, but it lives like an extension of us with other people.
So I think this happened around the time when now we started seeing less of our friends come to the events and more strangers. This is more now us building our market. These are now people who would enjoy the music that we're giving, the space, the energy that we're providing for our event. When we started getting contacted by musicians, by rappers, now a lot of people are hitting us up wanting to perform at our events, and we're like, okay, we weren't thinking about that yet, but okay, this is becoming something real now. Yeah, I think that's when the mindset started shifting. Now I'm starting to speak to people who I know who run events, like, okay, guys, we were just having good times, as DJs, throwing parties. Now I need guidance with structure. I need to know how CRM systems work. I need to know ticketing, pricing, security. Some venues don't have certain things. Some venues come as a shell. So this is when now I started thinking less of just a DJ and more of a event promoter.
How do you build a loyal audience for your event property?
As DJs, like we kind of already had built like a level of an established audience who sort of latched onto us via our tastes. So then when we then sort of transmuted those tastes into an event context, obviously those people are the first ones to come, i.e. the friends, the close fans and stuff like that. What you notice like with like a lot of events is that the growth is very much like a spider web. So like these people then tell maybe 2 or 3 of their friends, and those friends to come. And from there, those next 2 friends, it's giving pyramid scheme when I'm saying it out loud.
It's giving very much pyramid scheme.
But it's that I think more so than like any advertising or marketing that you can do, which is very important for establishing your brand. But like in terms of getting the people in, like that word of mouth is really, really important. And I think to have people go out and tell people about like, yo, I enjoyed this event, or snap and be like, I'm at this event having a good time. Like above all else, you need to put out a good product. And not just a good product, but a product that like that's easily communicatable. So like when someone snaps, I'm at a Soundset Sunday, or I'm at any given Sunday, you can get those touch points very easily of like, oh, they're playing the music I like. They like to have things looking a certain way that, resonates with me. And having those things be easily communicatable, I think is a very important part of how we were able to grow the brand. Because then when you do good, it just sort of, it just falls into your lap almost.
I think also like maybe since we're all DJs here, is you've DJ'd in a place where there's maybe like 10 people, but you always have to give them the best set ever. So I think with us it's never really mattered how many people are there. It's just always making sure that you give them a really good show. Because if someone needs to leave and speak about your product, they must be like, yo, that it was good regardless. And I think maybe the thing that I think Any Given Sunday did in the beginning that we did is we gave out free tickets, right, and make them super limited. And if people are able to access your event, right, obviously in the beginning, you're not going to turn over the money that you want. But then if people can gain access, right, if they see it and they get there, they're like, cool, I like this, I'm willing to pay for it. Or like, yes, because it's very difficult to start an event and make people and charge people. You can have the best lineup, but everyone's like, but we just don't know who you are. Like, it's like a trust thing. So how do you build trust? So how do you get people into the door? If you can get people into the door, your product is good, your lineup is good. Just give them like those, like let them come in, and then from there, it just grows organically.
With building your database or your community, is obviously what we noticed was having more like-minded people. So we focused on the niche of being the home of hip-hop. And this is not just sonically. We wanted to provide an experience that had the fashion, the type of people that are in hip-hop, the culture, the lifestyle of hip-hop. So this started gravitating more people along the lines to that community that we were building. Where your event is held, the type of event that you're doing, the theme, kind of telling the whole story so that when you have the people in it, it also fits.
Calling out all content creators, from artists to podcasters to any creator who uses any form of audio. You can now upload your very own audio clip from a song to a content clip and promote your work using the MTN Call to Tunes platform. The cherry on top is you can use the Call to Tunes to make some moolah, cash, pesos by getting your fam, friends, and fans to use your Call to Tune, which will mean money in your pocket. So basically, every time someone listens to your Call to Tunes, likes it, they simply press any key from 1 to 9 to download it as their own, and that is a win for you too. You can submit your audio through AMP's very own distribution channel with MTN by sending it to the very email below. And of course, through Call to Tunes, you get access to the creative world of AMP Studios with access to our resources from recording studios to podcasting equipment to events, networking sessions, and all of it. Get as creative as you want with MTN Call to Tunes and AMP Studios.
Let's talk about what the ideal venue looks like for you. If I'm a promoter and I'm trying to start an event, what is the best type of deal? There's lots of different deals: bar deals, door deals, percentage of bar deal, etc. Like, what is the norm, and what are some of the challenges?
If a venue has like sound, equipment, they have the alcohol, all of those things. The majority of the time is they'll say, we'll keep majority of the bar, and then you'll take a percentage. So mostly 10%. If they really like you, they'll give you 20. Very, very. It's really rare though. How you offset that is that you don't necessarily pay venue fee. All right. So they're like, cool, because you're not paying venue fee. These are like the amendments, and then you can do structures like if you hit targets at a certain number at the bar, then the percentage goes up. All of those things, which sounds great, right? But then the issue is that most of these events don't believe you'll pull in the numbers, right? So then they don't stock the bar, as an example. And then it's like, oh, I didn't know you do well. It's like, but like, trust that, like what we told you. So it's kind of like the things that we're always trying to prove to these venues what we can do. And then like they don't always buy in, but when they buy in, now they're willing to amend to what you want and all of these things. So those are the tricky parts. I think an ideal venue is kind of like what then speaks to your event property. So ours is daytime into evening. So we actually used to start at 12 and end at 8, but now we end at 10, right? So we're like, okay, cool, what's the perfect daytime? So it was always like a rooftop type thing. So like Hallmark was a really good one. So before we went to Hallmark, we were looking at rooftop in Bryanston, like those type of places. We did the Royale, but then we did the Royale outside in the little passage. But then like when you look at the Royale on the outside, it's like got the trees, got the sprinklers. So it's nice for like a daytime event. Then what we do now is we go to a venue that is like an open shell. So now you have to bring in everything yourself. So furniture, sound, toilet cleaners, so the costs for doing it yourself go up, but then where things get good is you make the most money in an event at the bar. So now the bar splits are in your favor. So you now get a 60% as opposed to a 10-20%. If you're starting out, it makes no sense to go to an open shell and then pay for all these things and then lose money, where you can keep it safe, say 100 people, go to the Royale or the street bar, try get a deal, then grow from there. Because the issue is sometimes you think growing fast is really good, but rather contain it where you are now bigger than the venue. Always be bigger than the venue. Never let the venue be bigger than you.
So at one of the venues, we decided, because the bar split was not in our favor, and we felt at that space selling tickets wouldn't work because it's usually a venue that's just open. So we decided to go on a flat rate budget, which worked in our favor, which covered all our operational costs, bookings.
What's a flat rate budget? Sorry.
So like they give us a budget for maybe like, for example, 30,000 Rand per month to host the event. And then whatever they make at the bar, they keep. There's no door. So that worked out for us. So it depends again on the type of venues you go to. So what we would do is we would kind of theme or build not build the event, but the party we're throwing at that time around the space. So when we were at Poolside, super day vibes, open air venue, pool. So it's summer. So the imagery was light. It was bright. It was colorful. Then we went to Street Bar, which is more of a darker space, more grunge. So they have a top floor, which is more day vibe, nice, open, and then the downstairs was more of the trap. So it worked out in our favor. So during the day, it was calm, easy type of music that we're playing upstairs. Come downstairs, that would have the live performances.
I think it's as much as it's about like where you are in your journey, in terms of determining what venue to take. It's also about like your skill set. And I'll make an example. So like with a flat rate budget, if you are someone who is like pretty frugal, or you have like good relationships with suppliers, you can get favorable deals, like something like that, where you can save and spend maybe like 18K or 22K out of that 30K and get your money that way. Like that's an important skill you need to take advantage of. Whereas maybe if you are someone who's more creatively inclined, and I'll give you an example, like I think Thube and I, very good musically, maybe not so much visually. So we weren't really doing too much in empty shells until we hired a creative director. And once we got someone to do that thing that we couldn't, it then made empty shells like a lot easier to do. And then we could sort of tap into that, because that was also around the time where we sort of had just barely enough capital to like make empty shells work. So yeah, like it's really about like where you are, but also like what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are when you want to choose a venue as well.
Always look to keep your overheads as low as you can. I think empty shell, no shell, whatever shell, just keep your overheads as not necessarily like to take away the quality of what you're doing, but then it's just important. Like if you are now like you don't need to get extra toilets, don't get it. Like if there are things that you don't need, don't get it for the sake of getting it and be like, oh, I'll use it. Like always know where something is going, especially when it comes to eventing. Because I mean, with us, if like we always tell people, it took us 3 years to make a profit. If you tell people that, how many people are going to start something? You know, so, but we're like, it will come back. We're just breaking even until we're like, oh, some money. And then it's like, but then the important thing was keeping the overheads low. Even if you get a sponsorship that can cover a lot, bring it down. Like if you can bring it lower, if you can get Basmnt for 2K as opposed to a 10K DJ who can do the same thing, just like work within your relationships, because those ones will likely take you really far.
I don't charge 2K, by the way.
Just in case you're trying to book him. So can you guys reflect on some of the most significant collaborations or partnerships, brand partnerships, creative partnerships that have happened in 2024 for you, and kind of how those contributed to your success, or how do you see them potentially contributing to your success going forward?
In this year particularly, I think it's the sponsorship deal we signed with Kicks, with Signal Hill. When you're a promoter, you're sort of like looking in two directions. So like you're trying to satisfy consumers, patrons, but you're also trying to satisfy brands and clients, because those are both your customers. And you have to satisfy them in different ways, sometimes like diametrically opposed ways. So the beauty in that partnership is that like we generally have like a lot of freedom, a lot of, I don't want to say leeway, because like results are results at the end of the day. You know what I mean? The bottom line is the bottom line. But like when you have people who sort of just recognize what you are doing and want to be a part of it, as opposed to I don't know, exert influence on it. Like that really frees you up to like then focus on what's important. I think it does also help that the bag is pretty nice. Like they pay a good amount So, you know what I mean? Because that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. So, yeah, that's definitely maybe, I would say, one of the most important partnerships this year.
A thing that attracts brands is a brand already being there. When brands see a space and opportunity for them to play, then conversations are a lot easier, right? But brand deals aren't easy to get, right? So you can have the sexiest pitch deck, but then they'll be like, what am I going to get? So everything goes back to ROI. If a brand is investing, they want to see results.
Can we zero in a little bit on ROI? What is like a good return on investment for a brand if you own an eventing property?
It means different things for different brands. So like with a Johnny Walker, they sponsor us leading with Johnny Walker Blonde, which is a new variant. So the way that they really want to focus on going about that is having people taste it, liquid on lips. When you are able to offer them that, like offer them a certain number of people who will be able to taste this thing for free, that's a really good return for them. Whereas with someone like a Kicks, for example, maybe the big thing is a bit more on visibility. Being a part of the marketing collateral, creating content for them before and after and during the event. There are other brands where just volume is number one, and really all they want to see is you sell as many bottles of what they're selling as you can. You know what I mean? So being able to like preempt, being able to predict, being able to like speak that language back to them, showing them that, yes, this is what you guys sort of need at this stage or want at this stage, and this is what we can do for you to sort of achieve that. That's like really, really super key.
So whenever you have a meeting with the brand, it's really important to be like, cool, what do you guys want? You must also go a step further, right? So let's say if a brand doesn't have umbrellas, you can be like, we can do umbrellas for you, right? To just give you more visibility, because your visibility is limited. Ensuring you can give the brand what it wants, but then taking it a step further, right? And letting them be part of your event. It's easy to like sign the deal, and then we're like, okay, we'll speak with you guys. We'll send the report, job done. But then it's good to have like a check-in or like, are you guys happy? Do you guys want something further, right? How can we do that? You guys want to maybe try cocktails. What do we do? Do we limit it to from 12 until 2? Like there's always ways to play within your space. There's sometimes we've thought about how like the women's bathroom line is really, really long always, right? So then it's like, is there a marketing opportunity there? It's the small things where to a brand they'd be like, okay, like these people actually consider us. Like just consider the brands always and in different ways. Then sometimes the ROI does change, but you're also then changing with it. Yeah.
I have a little bit of an intersection there around the ladies' bathrooms. But maybe if I buy a drink of a particular brand, it takes me to exclusive toilets that are always clean and are always open. That's for free.
You know what I'm saying? Like
I
stuff
just
like
gave that to you.
Stuff like that where you're now hiring more toilets, but then the brand is now you say we'll brand it, we'll vinyl it, we'll do whatever you want. Like those small touch points, because at a party you must always think what happens in the space and what places can be a touch point.
When did we start having parties on a Sunday? But I think maybe that will speak to the idea of trends and where the party market and the entertainment game is going, what audiences are looking for. And is that something that you guys are kind of always thinking about and trying to adapt your properties to stay relevant with audiences? Or, are you just like, are you hardcore authentic to the cause?
So the Sunday thing, people enjoy things that they shouldn't be doing, even though you have work the next day. So it just tastes sweeter. The trends that are coming through now from my observation is events are taking their experiences more seriously now. It's not just throwing a DJ lineup, finding a venue, boom, sell tickets, come and party. A lot of people are now taking it a step further. A lot of events are now going towards the themes of like, okay, all black or green or whatnot. Right now, you want people taking their phones out and taking pictures. I was there, so it's giving people more of an experience. It's also having more interactive engagements now with your community. So it's not just them coming and going. When they come through, they get to experience and touch and feel and do activities, at your spaces, as well as incorporating the decor. So it's the small details that I'm starting to see now with the trends that kind of complete the event. This goes all the way through to your marketing. This goes through to your pre-marketing, your pre-post, the pictures, the kind of filter that you use. It's all detailed to that. So I think people are becoming more meticulous with how they want the events to look and feel.
So when we started wanting to do a Sunday, we're like, Friday after work, you're a little knackered. The hours are really short as well, so you don't have a lot of time to party unless you're going into the morning. Saturday is the days usually where people would do a lot. There'd be a lot of competition. So then how do you stand out? And then you look at a Sunday. You're like, cool. It works during the day. People after church. It's a nice little segue. You say lunch, and then you can go home by 8. You're showered, you're ready for work. Doesn't really happen now anymore, but that was the intention. I think for me, when it comes to trends, what I'm noticing is content, right? Is with the age of the rise of TikTok and how people consume content, your content needs to be so engaging that it really stands out. Because if you look at after movies of events, you're like, I know what I'm going to expect. It's the person with the drink, it's the cheers, it's the Zoom, it's the, what are you...
People take it so seriously.
Yeah, what are the things that, visually, I think how you show up visually, content-wise, is really important. We just posted a video yesterday where it was basically people were doing karaoke in the video, and it's that's dope. It's simple. I think after movies, this fast edits, it's that type of content. I think is obviously going to be the real game changer, because we're all throwing parties, we're all doing something very similar, but then in that minute or 2 minutes, how are you changing someone's life? Even if it's going to be small or fractional, but then I think for me, content is really going to be really key. So how you show up visually. But I think Kanye mentioned the experience part. There was an event by the Marble Group, that circus, that looked amazing. Stage design, different sections. You're oh, okay, game is changing now. The music doesn't really change too much, but what am I leaving with here that I can hold? That then lives in my house, those small little touch points that people can hold on to forever, that they can associate with your party, is really important. I've been seeing a lot on TikTok, and I don't think it's come to South Africa yet, but in LA and all of those places, people are now going to coffee establishments, putting a DJ deck there and just vibing at a place where traditionally you're just there to have coffee. So I think a thing that's going to change is, if people can't find venues, you will now go to unorthodox places to host. And I think that is a trend that I'm starting to see. It's really big in America and in Europe. And I'm very interested to see who's the first person who'd be let's go to Father Coffee and throw a bash. Unconventional places also need to are gonna start being a place, because the saturation is so much. People are cool, what happens next?
Serenza, Serenza, Serenza.